Check these badass heads out. What we have here is a pair of Dart Iron Eagle Platinum from about 2013. Except they've been extremely modified for a dirt modified race car. Northeastern Dirt Modifieds. 358 cubic inch is the limit on the small blocks. And then you have the big block class that are, I believe they allow 468 cubic inch. But you gotta have cast iron heads, which I think they changed the rules. And that's why these are sitting here. They now allow aluminum heads, but they're spec head. They're Brodix spec heads. And I think them spec heads will be down on power compared to these. These came off a Northeast Dirt Modified engine. I think it was built by an outfit called Mullins. It was about a $25,000 engine, 25-30 grand when it was built. They got medieval on this thing. And it made over 630 horsepower in a 358 cubic inch. But if you ain't in that class, if you ain't making at least 625 to 650 horse, you ain't even competitive. You might as well not even take your shit off the trailer, because that's where most of them are falling, some of them more than that. But these heads came off 630 plus horsepower 358 dirt track engine. Just the kind of shit I used to like to work on back in the day. So I used to work on some dirt track shit. Dirt track engines for customers. You know, them super late models and all that shit with the best of everything were cool, but you go down into your lower classes is where you find your really cool shit. And the thing about your lower classes, like a 358 modified class, hell, you put one of them in pull the engine out of one of them, drop it in a drag prep G-body, have you a high 9-second, low 10-second car on your hands easy with a single 4-barrel 350. These heads, they've got the works. This engine was built a while ago. Shit's been sitting around for a while, so it's a little rusty in there. But the fucking head's been tubed. They've been ported as far as they can be ported, and then some, and had the head bolt tubes put in there. So they're hogged on out. They got Del West valves in them. 208 160s. Yeah, they're fucking... They got the tubes in the intake ports to... This head bolt here. That motherfucker... You get porting them runners out, and that's where you're gonna bust through, so you hone it on out and put you a tube in there, and Just port that fucking runner all the way through the head bolt hole, and then press that tube in there to contain your head bolt. But they got that flow. They got that flow maximized. These things are well over 300 CFM. Which they come off an engine making over 630 plus horsepower NA. So clearly they got some flow. Got your big isky fucking hardcore valve springs. I believe them are titanium, mainly retainers, mainly locks. Some springs are set up. This engine had a 675 intake, 645 exhaust, 273, 283 at 50, and a 106 lobe separation. And that's competition cam, solid roller. That's probably what's going back in there. It's already set up for it. The engine these heads came on was a 14.5 to 1 compression. I'm gonna build a drag version with this shit, which I ain't gonna squeeze it 14.5 to 1. I'm gonna have it down about 13.5 to 1. I just want 600 horsepower out of 358 cubic inch small block, maybe 610. Single 4 barrel. Probably use dart intake. These heads had the shit milled out of them. They've been angle milled. Look at the way that fucking takes a fucking ski slope right there. They're down around 50 cc chambers. You get a shitload of compression with a 0 deck flat top piston. Be fucking damn near 13 to 1. It won't take much dome to get big compression out of these things. So they've had about 100 thousandths milled off of them. Get a little more. We got the exhaust ports. They did look prettier. Well, they've had a race or two and been sitting around for years. Ain't really been cleaned up. I'm gonna put these to use on this Mexican 4-bolt 350 I got sitting over here. See if I can't get me a 600 horse 350 out of that son of a bitch. NA. There's your big fucking Dale West 208 160 valves. Gotta have offset rocker arms and offset roller lifters. You see the epoxy. The runner been taken all the way to the push rod pinch and then some. So we're gonna need about 100 offset rocker arm and 100 offset lifter on the intake side. And use standard on the exhaust. You'll notice these head bolt holes have all been elongated. That's because it's been angle milled and these valves been rolled over They come 23 degree, but these are like 21 degree. So you can see where the angle is. You got that, and then you can literally feel it with your finger. Little peak there. And I have to run some silicone on the head gasket from there forward. Keep that from leaking. Yeah, they're fucking. They're big ass valves. And tiny ass chambers. It'll be 13.5 to 1 compression with a minimum dome. What would normally be a 11.5 or 11 to 1 compression dome. Get you 13.5 to 1 with this shit. It's a lot of work just fucking drilling out all them goddamn head bolts to make that head bolt down right. That's part of it. You want to be hardcore. It's got nice components all the way through here. The heads are well ported. Just can't get the fucking camera in there and get the light at the same time. But they tubed up. They're taking on out. So that push rod pinch, they took it on out into there too. They got that fucking epoxy. See it better there. Then you look at your alignment on your stud, your valve, and then your hole. It definitely ain't gonna line up. But offset rockers and lifters are commonplace with this kind of shit, so it's just part of it. There's some pretty big ass springs there. 155s diameter, double springs. Got a 275 at 2-inch, and about 700 at a 1/250. Coil bind about 1/100. So they'll take 750 lift cam. The fucking Dale West valves, they're some of the best money can buy. You ain't gonna hurt them bastards. These are a few years old, but they'll still make more than enough power. This engine's gonna be a monster. See how thin that is. Those are 1206 openings. But yeah, they had quite a cut on them. They've had the shit milled out of them. And you run a 1:5:5 ratio rocker, so put it up about 690 lift, and then 660 60 on the exhaust. Probably use a 4500 Dominator series Dart single plane intake. It's already port matched. I got a feeling it'll fit these heads like it was made for them, if my calculations are correct. This old oval track shit, it may be obsolete on the oval track, but you can still use it on a drag car or a badass fucking street machine. What it would cost to get all the work done to these heads, you're looking at $4,000 or $5,000 to take a pair of fucking Iron Eagles and drop them off at Mullins and get all this shit done to them. You spend a fucking fortune. And a lot of these oval trackers are rich guys, so they just go through that shit. And their old shit ain't nothing to them but in the way. So shit pops up out there. It's a good way to get a killer pair of heads without spending $1 million. So these are some older ones, but they're still totally relevant. There's people selling like last year's heads and shit for like a third of what they cost. Oval track engines, a lot of them use small block Chevys and a lot of them use big block Chevys. But them fucking 468 cubic inch modified big block Chevys, they're typical 800 horse, you know, lap after lap after lap. I think they had to use iron heads also, but they running some big compression and big cams. But these 358 modifieds are pretty fucking impressive engines for 358 cubic inch, and that's a 40 overboard, a 3.480 stroke. You know, that's the rule. The rules are limited. Used to, you couldn't port the heads. You had to use Sportsman 2s and you couldn't port the heads, but people were still getting over 600 horse with them. But then I don't know if they did everywhere, but a lot of places they started allowing people to port the heads. As long as you had iron heads, pretty much anything went. And a lot of people like these 200cc Dart Platinum Iron Eagles. They discontinued these fuckers in January 1st, 2013. It's a damn shame. It is a pretty stout, well made, plenty of potential. So there's people getting 650 horse on 350s with these fucking things. But they ain't stock by no means. They fucking went over them with the fine-tooth comb. Pretty fucking healthy pair of cylinder heads. I think they'll make a good street strip. A hot rod, small block Chevy combo. They don't make them anymore, so if a person sees a deal on a pair, you might want to snatch them up if you can, because they got a whole lot of potential. Whole lot of potential. There it is, Dart Iron Eagle.